Rachel?
I mean, it's interesting we keep talking about this centre ground when, it seems to me, who gets to define the centre ground? The right wing who keeps shifting it rightwards. Actually, I think the centre ground is a lot more in line with what Corbyn is saying.
He's taking... Corbyn's a centrist?
I do. I think he's taking...
My word.
Relative to the population, he is taking a perspective that's anti-austerity, favours nationalisation of utilities, favours a 50% level of tax, favours investment in major infrastructure projects. That is a position that an overwhelming percentage of the public supports. What I think he's tapping into is something that people are just not understanding, which is that politics has changed. It's changed across Europe. It's changing in the US. People don't want top-down politics anymore. They want bottom-up. They want grassroots. Bernie Sanders in the US, Jeremy Corbyn in the UK are tapping into something that's already happened in Spain and in Greece, which is we are not charismatic public figures, leaders. We are representatives of a movement, and this is what the movement, i.e. people, want us to do. And I think the media commentating around this is just missing a fundamental change in the way people see politics.
Corbyn wants to nationalise our energy utilities at a cost of £145 billion, bigger than the whole budget of our NHS. You think that's a centrist position?
Yeah, the majority of the public actually want renationalisation of utilities, and when you see British Gas awarding themselves a huge bonus while at the same time overcharging us, you can start to see why.
Rachel, you must be taking your readings from an entirely different situation than the one that...
Well, maybe you should read what I read.
Well, tell us what you do read.
There's one point about Rachel was making, which is there have been opinion polls when you ask British people, including Conservatives, about renationalising some industries. It is quite popular. It's a lot more popular. I mean, you're talking about whether you could afford it and so on, but it is quite popular because people think that a lot of those utilities are making money out of the rest of us, and we've got no real control over them.
And just to support Rachel's point, I want to refer to two right-wing politicians. I mean, Boris Johnson in the Conservative Party praising Jeremy Corbyn for standing up for real things, and also Nigel Farage unexpectedly saying that he's, talking about some serious points, and it couldn't be maybe a challenge to UKIP, but it's certainly he has a point there. And also on the other side of the Atlantic, we have, for example, Bernie Sanders kind of characters, obviously. We've
also got a Tea Party movement as well. Yeah. I mean, the big point is have the big parties in this country. We've seen what happened with the SNP in Scotland. That there is a lack of faith in politics as usual, isn't it?
We're not being fair, I think, on the contenders that are seeking to become leader of the Labour Party, because there are, of course, 3 other candidates, and this discussion, just like the acres of ink that have been spilt over it, the acres of newsprint, has all been about Corbyn.
But that's their fault for being so bland and anodyne and not even worthy of comment. Well, if they were better, then people would be joining the Labour Party in droves to support them. If they were the centre, they would have a groundswell of support. Why don't they?